and blessings to you. I hope that you're doing well and your family as well. I just got through celebrating this weekend, Juneteenth. I hope everybody had a great weekend and it was flourishing and beautiful. I hope wherever you was at that you were safe. And we're going to jump right into this today as we venture out and discuss who are the Freemasons. This is that topic for today. Who are the Freemasons? And when I thought about this topic, I looked at all the books I had, all the books I've read, and it gives me a background on Freemasonry. Who are the Freemasons? Who are they? And so this is the question for today. A lot of us have our own uh, preconceived notions about who are they, what they are all about. Those who have been initiated, those who have not. Today is my question. That's my question for today. Who are the Freemasons? That's the topic for today. So come on in. Let's have this great conversation, this great discussion in regards to who are the Freemasons. And I will advise you as you journey through this organization, and if you have been initiated, passed, and raised, my advice to you is to start yourself a library, your own personal library. And I encourage you to find black authors who have written in regards to Freemasonry. Hear me again. Hear me again. I will ask that you would find black authors who have written about Freemasonry from an African American perspective, from an perspective of a black Mason. I need for you to do that in the beginning, because when I first began to do my own research into Freemasonry and all of that, what I found is that most of the books I had were all written by white Masons, giving their perspective on Freemasonry, how it was founded, where it was founded. Everything that I got in the beginning of my journey in Freemasonry was by someone who was white, who written about Freemasonry and how it got started. That's the bottom line. That's the honest truth. But right now, in this time, in this age of digital information, I would encourage you, my young inner apprentices, and my fellow craft, my master mason, those who have been around for a while, it doesn't matter. I would encourage you to go find African American writers or black scholars in regards to Freemasonry. I'm not saying that white scholars didn't do a good job. I'm saying that you need to have a different perspective on Freemasonry. You need to have your own library in the beginning on how you receive information. Because I would tell you my perspective when I first started to engage in Freemasonry. It would be honest with you, it was all about the Grand Lodge of England. That is the honest truth. That was my first perspective. This is where it all began. This was it. And as I began to get more books and read more and discover more, it was like things began to change. My perspective begins to change. My way of thinking as far as, was this really the get-go? So it all began to change, and this is why I'm encouraging. Nobody never encouraged me to do that, but I want to encourage you to go and find these various African American authors and authors period who are black in regards to Freemasonry and get their books. I'm telling you, I have quite a few books written by black authors now who are Masons, and their perspective on it. It's totally different than my perspective from my first books that I've gotten on Freemasonry. Totally different. Totally. It comes from a place of a more enlightenment and understanding. Okay, so in the beginning, these Masons who were from various parts of England came together. They met at a pub, a place where you go and you fellowship, you drink, you get drunk. That's what a pub is. It's a bar. That's where they met, and that is supposed to be the beginning of what we know as the Grand Lodge system, and that is not necessarily true. This is why it's important to find those authors, to seek them out. My friend Dwight Muhammad from Mystic Lodge number 619 out of the UK. He now has his own YouTube channel to where he's sharing his books and the authors who have written these various books on Freemasonry. They're black authors, and some are white. But I'm telling you that to me is the beginning of the genesis of my mind frame, the way I think, the information I've come across. The more information I come across, the more my opinion about something I had last year, the year before that, it changes. You know, I'm just not settling for, oh, this is it. No, because the more information you gain, your perspective changes on a whole lot of things. So this is why it's important to look at Freemasonry from different points of views, different advantage points, not just my own. Not just my own. There's some truth in it all, but I have to decide on when I get these various books, how do I assimilate? How do I get this information, break it down to suit me? How do I do that for me? And when you decide that, when you get this information, I'm telling you, your perspective does change. It really does. And this is my encouragement to you, is to go do that. Because the same way they was doing surgery years ago, they don't do that same surgery. So things shift, things change. So masonry being a progressive science, and that's what it is. It changes. Because if masonry doesn't change, it gets left behind. So there's a core within the Masonic organization itself. It changes. It moves like water moves. It becomes the very essence of the community and society which is involved in. So when you ask yourself, who are the Freemasons? It is those who are truly accepted and have been initiated, passed, and raised, regardless of your jurisdiction. And when you understand the society of Freemasonry and how you can move within this great society, it's a beautiful thing. However, most of us don't get the opportunity to move within the society because all you have is the community. There is a difference between a community and a society. Okay? A community is a small gathering of people, and you may have certain things within it for it to function, and that's great. But when you look at the society, it is the inclusiveness of all. It is all there is in the making of humanity, society. It is the mainframe. It is the thought process. It is everything that makes up the place where you're at. So when you go get these books, when you begin to get these books, I'm telling you, you're going to have a different perspective on it. And that is truth. So when a person asks me, well, who are the Freemasons? Who are they? Oh man, Freemasons are the haves and the have-nots. Listen, Freemasons are the haves and the have-nots. So let me tell you why. Because in my travel, I've met people who didn't have a dime, and they were Masons. I've met people who have a lot, and they were Masons. So Mason crosses all boundaries within the society. So when they ask you, well, who are the Freemasons are the haves and the have-nots. It's truth. There are some lodges in New York, in New York, the Grand Lodge in New York. There's a lodge that is part of the Grand Lodge of New York, and it's only for the wealthy. That's a fact. And you may well, how did you know this? Well, let me tell you. You make friends all over the place. There's a lodge in New York, part of the Grand Lodge in New York, that's for the wealthy. There's a lodge here in California. They're for the Jews. There's a Jewish lodge. And it's true. I ain't got to make it up. And they're right here in California. So we know that the lodges is made up of all ethnicities of people in the society. So when you are out and about and you're wondering who are the Freemasons, they're everywhere. They are everywhere. And for those of you who don't believe me, look in your family tree. I guarantee you, you're going to find a Freemason or Eastern Star somewhere down the line. Because people who, I'm not going to say people, individuals who really enjoy the craft, and you know who you are, there's a difference in being a Mason or an Eastern Star versus someone who just want to be a part of. Hear me clearly. There is a difference in being a Freemason and Eastern Star than someone who just want to be a part of. Those who just want to be a part of, they're not really into the activity of reading and breaking down the structure and standards and all of that. They're not even into that. So they're just part of. But for those who are really involved in the society of Freemason, those individuals are the ones you should gravitate to, because they're going to teach you the essence of Freemasonry. I was talking with a brother not long ago out of Memphis who's a member of PHA, and he said, here's what I teach in my lodge. And I'm like, what? That is how you should do it. So you're probably saying, well, what does he teach? He teaches first you should respect all jurisdictions. He teaches that if the person's not someone that your Grand Lodge recognizes, that you still should respect them and treat them with all dignity and respect. That's number one. He said, after that, if you develop a friendship with that person on another level, be it Masonically or whatever, that's how you're going to build that relationship. So in understanding that, I was like, oh, okay, that's really the crust of it. If you break it down, because what we find today in the totality of community Freemasonry or in the society of Freemasonry, it is totally just gotten out of hand. You know, as far as what someone wants to present to you, what someone is trying to show you, the whole thing, it is totally just went far to the left or far to the right. It's not even centered anymore. Definitely not centered anymore. Let me see what I got in the comments here today. Hope everybody is doing well. Let me see. Masons on the internet are different than Masons you meet in person. You might be saying a whole lot of stuff on their keyboard, but in person, they don't say the same stuff. I'm going to have to agree with you on that. I'm going to have to, you know. I'm going to have to agree with you on that. You know, that's the thing you have to be aware of. And this is why, even for myself, if you notice lately, I'm not talking about some of the things that in my activity as a Mason as much as I used to. Talking about I'm going here, I'm going there, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And the reason being is because I want to make sure that the things I'm talking about actually happens, occurs, and then move forward. You know, don't talk about it, be about it. So as we venture into the portals of Freemasonry, as we begin to understand its beginnings, it goes far beyond the mere Grand Lodge structure that we have today. It really does. This is why it's important for you who are members of this great society of Freemasonry to get books, to load up, baby, to load up on them. And I'm talking African American authors. I'm talking black authors. I don't care where they at. I'm talking specifically black authors who have written in regards to Freemasonry. I'm talking about them. You need those books in your library. You really, really do, because those types of books are going to give you a different perspective on Freemasonry. Plain and simple. By far. Now, most people are already familiar with Manly P. Hall. They love his writings, and he's just one of those guys who have just taken it to a whole nother level and broke it down from various points of views and perspectives. Got it. I have quite a few of his books, and some of them, you know, I like going back, reading through them. I enjoy picking them up and finding little crumbs out of them that I can really get involved with. They're great books to have. Harem's Key is another great book to have. But there are other Masonic books out there that I'm encouraging you to get. And I will tell you once again, brother Dwight Muhammad out of Mystic Lodge 619, look his YouTube channel up. He's doing a book review almost every day or every other day. And he'll tell you what the book is and where you can find it at. And he has a ton of black authors who have written in regards to Freemasonry. That I can say, and go check him out. Really go check him out, see what he's saying, because when you ask the question, who are the Freemasons, man, you get, I'm gonna tell you, you get this white perspective. It's true. When most people think about Freemasonry, I'm just being totally honest. You know, when they're seeing the big, beautiful buildings and all of that stuff, that's the perspective they get. You know, so that perspective is cool. But when I think of Freemasonry, my perspective is different based on what I know now. It is totally different. Totally different. Some people say, you know, in Freemasonry, you should, when your Grand Lodge is established, you should have this big fancy building. You should have this and you should have that. That's cool. I don't disagree with it at all. I'm saying go get yours. However, and in addition to that, Masonry is more than just a building. It's more than just that. It is definitely more than just that. But what we do with it, we tend to fickle around with it, you know. We tend to do something else with it. And that's what we mess up at. That's truly where we mess up at. You know? We tend to fickle around with it. And we mess up with it. And then we want to know really what's going on. What's going on is that you missed the essence of Freemasonry and what it's really all about. Greetings everybody who's just come on. Today we're talking about the essence of Freemasonry. We're talking about who are the Freemasons? What is his name and YouTube channel? His name is Dwight Muhammad. Shucks. Mystic Lodge 619, if I'm not mistaken, is the name of the YouTube channel. So check him out. As a matter of fact, I'm going to have him back on the show here pretty soon so he can talk about it a little bit more. I think that would be very, very beneficiary for what he's trying to do. I think that his book collection will help other Masons who are seeking to find good books. I thought I had a great library. I still do feel that I have a good one, but when you have the information that he has, it's mind-blowing. And he's told me that he's read 90%, and I may be wrong, it may be more, but he's read 90% of the books he has. So I don't doubt him at all. I don't, because every time I talk to him, he's pulling up another book. He's showing you another book. So he's that guy for me when it comes to books to get, as far as whether you're new to the organization, the society, or whether you've been in it for years. He's that guy I go to when I'm looking for other reads and various books that can help enlighten me more in regards to Freemasonry. He's that guy. So I definitely would tell you his name is Dwight Muhammad. The name of the channel is Mystic Lodge 619. It's out of the UK. They're working on the John G. Jones Grand Lodge of California, Ancient Free and Accepted Masons, and we are very elated to have them to be part of this jurisdiction and what they bring to the table and what I've learned from them and how they do and have their lodge meetings. Because the way we have our lodge meetings here is based upon, it's different than the way they do. I'm just going to say that. The way they sit up their lodge and the way we sit our lodge up here in the United States is different. And I'm like, wow. So I'm having a conversation with my Grand Master in regards to maybe, just maybe, we might need to make some changes. We just might. Because when you see different opening ceremonies, when you see different setups, you get a different feel and a different taste for what Freemasonry is. Because I know here in the United States you have the Holy Bible, Square, and Compass on the altar. Where he's at is not like that. It's not. No, it is not like that at all. So when he showed me how they open, when he showed me how they're set up, yeah, I can do that. I can enjoy it because it's different. For me, when it's different, I want to try it. I want to see what it looks like. I want to see the feel. I want to get all into it when it's different like that. And see, when you ask the question, well, who are the Freemasons? Man, it's a beautiful society of men, period. You know, the haves and the have-nots. It's a mixture. It's gumbo. You know, I'm really trying to put it in the simplest form that I can, because the perspective that a lot of people get when they think of Freemasonry is from a European side. That's true. That's why when you come across people, this man, I didn't know there was black masons. I didn't know. And you'd be like, what? You didn't know? No, I didn't know there was black masons. Yeah, there are black masons all over the world, and that's the beauty of the society. You know, so masonry is universal. So when you begin to break that down, you see that different perspective. So look, I want to welcome everybody who's stopping by today, just for a few minutes. We're just talking about Freemasonry. We're talking about its essence. We're talking about uh, 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 who are the Freemasons. You know, is it a secret society? Nah, nah, not like it used to be. It's nothing like that anymore. Uh, until Grand Lodges, you know, begin to restructure, reformulate, redo things, it's going to always look like a club to a lot of people. It's going to always look like a Greek fraternity to a lot of people. Until you begin to change that narrative and perspective, that's what it's going to look like. And I encourage your jurisdiction to do that, because I know that's something we're working on here. We don't want to be associated with a Greek fraternity or a fraternity period. We are a society. And if you don't believe me, and if you're a Mason, when you open, it says harmony being the strength of all society, more especially of ours. It don't say fraternity. It doesn't say that at all. So when you look at it from a society point of view, that means that you who are Masons you have to take that honor and have an effect on society. You know, we talk about what we do in the community. That's great. I mean, there are many jurisdictions that do a lot in their area for which they are located, and that's great. But I'm talking about the society as a whole. How do you affect the change? How do you be out there, but you're not out there? You know what I mean? How do you hold that and light the fire to the society, to the area where you're at, and be effective? You know, that's what we're talking about. So look, I've been on here for a little minute, and I want to thank everybody for coming on. And as always, I hope that you've gotten something out of it. Stop by Mystic Lodge 619 YouTube channel, doing books previews you wouldn't believe. He's the guy to go to when you want to look for great books. I mean, he's that guy, Dwight Muhammad. Greetings, my brothers. Greetings, my sisters of the order. So if you have had your St. John's Day, that's great. I'm looking forward to our St. John's Day this weekend coming up. We were invited by Modern Free Grand Lodge of California to come by to fellowship and partake over this weekend, and I'm looking forward to it. I want to send Grandmaster Jackson a big shout out for the invite and allowing me to be the speaker, and I'm looking forward to it. So unto them, blessing, until blessings and peace to you. Remember, I'm not your study guy, but I'm here to help you study. Until we see each other again, peace and be well. Oh, where's that camera? Oh, it's over here.